This is Tucker, and today we got the Blue Goose set back down on the ground here, and we're going to go ahead and get her lifted back off the Roadmaster chassis. But first we need to mark everything really good because we want it to come down exactly where she's sitting at right now. And there's like two little cardboard patterns that we need to make that's around the front of the rear wheel wells. That way we can get that welded in before we set it back down on there. Just going to make things a little bit easier so I don't have to do a lot of crawling around inside the car once we get it set back down on there. So we'll go ahead and get to making those two cardboard patterns and marking everything exactly where we need it when we set it back down. Well, first of all, we're going to come in here where this pinch weld area is on the inner wheelhouse is on the rear. And we're going to mark that exactly, where we've got her at. Because it's just going to go right along that pinch weld when we set her back down on there. And we'll clamp it together and weld her on there. So we just want to make sure we get a good mark on both sides. That way we for sure won't be off when we set it back down. Well, right here is that little area here where it's, like I said, it's kind of squared off more on the Roadmaster chassis right here, and then it's kind of rounded on the 57 wheel tub. The rest of it back on up in there, it actually just literally fit perfect right over the, the Buick Roadmaster floor and the 57 Chevy wheel tub area. So this is the worst spot on the front side of it, but it was actually a little rusty here anyways. Where some salt and stuff apparently had kicked up and kind of rotted the Roadmaster floor up. So I'm going to go ahead and make a cardboard pattern here to where we can get that exact same radius here and have it all ready, so that way when we set it back down on here I don't have to do a lot of crawling around inside the car. So we'll get to work on making a pattern. All right, we went ahead and mirrored that driver's side one. Went ahead and set one over here for the passenger side so I can mark it exactly where it goes. And we did the same on the driver's. And we went ahead and found a couple more reference points just randomly throughout this whole thing. That way, once we get her lifted off of here and go back down with it, we'll be able to set it down in this exact spot and get her welded on there completely. So we'll go ahead and get her in the position here and start lifting it off. All right, well, we got the old cherry picker in place. Got the old front mounted up here to the old harbor winch in the front here. So I'm hoping we can get her lifted up off of here for the last time from the old Roadmaster chassis. I sure hope we can get her lifted without any disaster. We haven't had one so far, so we'll keep our fingers crossed and see if she comes on off of here without any problems and get her back on that rack. Now that I got this body lifted back off of here, we're going to go ahead and cut out this rusted up area that I hadn't replaced when I put those outer rockers on there, because I wasn't sure exactly how far we were going to have to cut in to mount this thing over this Roadmaster chassis. So I've got to get this side done, and the other side's kind of similar. It's got a pretty good gap right there. So we'll go ahead and get started on cutting this out and getting a piece welded in there. Well, I went ahead and got this all cut out here to where we're into some solid material to make that pattern. I went ahead and initially cut out a little higher and chopped off the bottom of this windlace channel since it was pretty well ate up. It's supposed to actually wrap clear down and around here, so it's missing about 3 inches. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and unbolt it and get it out of the way now, because those screws are going to be so much easier to get to than when you have the floor of the car in there and you're in there trying to get it unbolted, because a lot of times they collect rust on the back side of these since they're actually a drilled and tapped hole instead of a sheet metal screw. So we'll get those pulled out of the way on both sides and get to that pattern. All right, we went ahead and got us the cardboard template made here, and I went ahead and traced it off on another one so I could do the reverse bend on it. The pieces are exactly the same, so we know we're fitting the same on both sides. So I went ahead and traced out, cut a second one, placed it in over here on this side to make sure everything was going to fit on there all right. So I think we're going to go ahead and make these two pieces out of 16 gauge, which is like about 60 thousandths. I think we need a little bit of extra strength, because once we get it back down on the Roadmaster chassis, I'm thinking that most of our front end strength is going to be tied into this upper area here, all along the toe board slash rocker panel area. That's gonna be a lot of support for it. So I kind of want to use a little bit thicker material there, just to assure that we get it fastened on there where we're not going to have a whole lot of flex or movement right in there. So we'll go ahead and get that piece set out here and get her cut out. Well, we got these pieces cut out so far. We're going to have to come back in and do just a little bit more cutting around here. But we're going to have to wait until we get it broke, because we needed enough material here for that brake to go ahead and grab it so we can have a good square 90 along here. So we'll go ahead and get these bent and then cut off that rest of that excess material there and get them welded on. Well, now that we got both sides welded up, we'll go ahead and knock them welds down a little bit and smooth them up, and we'll have this part of this project kind of wrapped up. Well, there's about what the driver's side is going to look like now that we got the welds knocked off of it. And there's a look at the passenger side. Well, this is pretty much going to wrap up everything on the actual 57 body part that I wanted to do to it as far as welding goes, since I pulled it back off the Roadmaster chassis. The only thing I have left to do on the body now is going to be go ahead and pick up some of them little sponge brushes in town in the morning, and then I can go ahead and wire wheel the insides of the rocker panels and inside of the quarter panels and get that chassis saver applied. That way it's going to be a lot easier to get to now. Actually, almost the only way I can get to some of that stuff now is while it's off the Buick frame. So we're going to go ahead and get that done, and then we'll get focused on welding up a little bit on the chassis side of it, the floorboards and stuff, the Roadmaster, and around the wheel well area. So once again, I'd like to thank everybody that's been watching and following along, and if you're new to the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button. We've got plenty more to come, and stay tuned, and we'll be getting this thing set back down on here pretty quick. Take care.